guys. So welcome back to another episode of the Invisible Practice Podcast. Alvaro is laughing. I don't know why. Anyway, this week we're going to be talking about reflejos, an effect by Pepe Carol.
Reflections.
Reflejos. Which is originally by Pepe, right?
Yeah, it's inspired on other routines, but
Yeah, on the routine by Brother John Hammond from the Yellow Book. That one, yeah. The Secret for Brother John Hammond. The Magic Card, I believe it's called. I don't know.
Yeah, I got this book in Finland like many years ago.
Really?
Yeah, I was in
At
Finland
the Magic Conference.
in the convention in Taipakaiva in Kouvola, and I didn't speak any words in English at the time, and a guy just came and said something, and I said the only word that I knew at the time, like, okay. My friend Eduardo and Hugo, they said, like, he said, like, you did that, you made a very good choice, you know. It's a great book, that he has the DVDs, and the contents is amazing. And I just saw him again, and I said, okay. It was amazing.
Okay.
Yeah, let's go into the thing, right?
Yeah, but this is already part of the thing. I mean, I think it's a very interesting routine, reflejos, and there are quite some interesting versions. Like the versions I'm most aware of are Pepe's version, and then of course we have Gabi's version, and I've seen Kiko Pastour's version, although I've never studied it really, and then I know your version. And purely fictionally thinking, I think your version is the best. But I think it all sort of depends on the context we're putting it in, right? Because in some way already Gabi's version and Pepe's version are different. Because Pepe's version feels more like casual, like we have 4 aces and you guys say stop, okay, here we have 2 cards, and then those aces change into, like, for example, there's a queen and a 10, like in the version, which feels like a free selection. And then the aces change into 4 queens, and then into 4 tens, and then you say you can do it again, you have the 2, and then the backs, and then, okay, like it goes on. But then, like, that feels more like casual, like someone selects a card, and the aces, or 3 aces, change into the selected cards. Where I think Gabi's version, for example, is much more theatrical piece in some way, because it starts with that waterfall where the aces fall down, and then after that they change and change and change, which fits the story that he tells really well. And in the end, he lets the card dribble them down again, and then the aces turn face up again, so it goes full circle, which is much more theatrical in some sense, I feel like, than Pepe's version.
My mentor Miguel Angel Gea would say, like, half moon structure instead of circular structure, because in circular structures, like, you try to copy the steps that you made, you know. But in this case, it's like you make steps, you know, and in the middle, when you want to go to the beginning again, you go up. You don't copy these steps, making them a little bit different. Or no, you go straight away to the beginning. So that's why.
So you just go to a moment that reminds them of the beginning.
Yeah, it's like half moon structure. That's what Gea told me one day, and I totally agree. Look, it's a pity that Kiko Pastour's version isn't with subtitles or in English, because it's poetic. It is.
It's a Magic Castle performance where he does it.
Oh, wow, awesome! I think. Yeah, really, yeah. It's yeah. in my opinion, the best video about it is the one that he's performing. I think is in Vigo or in Santiago. It's in the north of Spain,
Mm-hmm.
northwest, and it's very poetical. Um, I don't know. I've watched this video like thousands of times,
Mm.
and I always cry. I don't know why. I just feel this connection. Gavi's version for me, it's like a Range Rover. This kind of cars that you
Range
can
Rover,
use.
yeah. Mm.
You can use everywhere. Maybe a Range Rover in the road is like the best thing. You could use different car, but
Yeah,
in the
but
field or maybe in the mountains, but it works.
I also don't feel like it fits everywhere because in like you need to like if you already have four aces out, it's not gonna work.
Yeah, but it isn't a big problem because having the aces out, you can continue the full thing.
Mm.
What I'm saying is like it's very comfy, a very confident team. You know, in my opinion, Carol made something that not many people does. It's like create a structure, a base for the routine. For example, Oil and Water is older than Marlowe. Actually, Hopfinster and other
Mm.
magicians used to do this kind of concepts.
Mm.
And actually, Vernon has his version. Marlowe has its version. Ascanio, Tamaris, many people.
Mm.
I also have my own version. Who doesn't? So the thing is, Marlowe was the first one who introduced the concept of the fiction, about water.
Mm.
So creating this fiction, he created like a line of work. In the case of Pepe, he created the line of work, about the fiction, but he also created like a structure. You try to change the structure of the routine. Many people does this, like they do that, like
Mm.
removing the part where you reflect the backs of the card. In my
But
opinion, this is a huge
that's a
mistake
huge
because
mistake. Yeah.
yeah, or trying to change so in my opinion, if you want to make a version, you have to be like a genius, or you have to follow the steps that Pepe made, and then try to do something different. In my case, I followed Pepe's steps, and I know it has techniques, like
Mm.
difficult techniques. Well, difficult because if you rehearse these techniques, they are not difficult anymore.
No.
But yeah, it's like a technical routine. And I also add, like the thing that the reflection has to be the same cards.
Mm.
Not a 10 of spades with a 10 of hearts or something like this.
Mm.
10 of hearts to 10 of hearts.
Yeah, so that's why I say that I like your version more fictionally speaking.
Hmm. You can do Pepe's version or Gabi's version,
Mm.
reflecting the same cards. But I think adding to Gabi's version, like the same cards, is like resting or removing. Like in this case, the version would lose,
Mm.
the the impromptu thing that the version has,
Mm.
that you can just stack the deck in 2 minutes, in 1 minute.
Mm.
Um, it's done. It's like very very fast.
Mm.
So yeah, and I've seen like a lot of versions from many people, even from
Mm.
friends of mine, very close. And I always have the same arguments. Like you can you can have like a different opinion. You maybe don't agree,
Mm.
but when you go in front of an audience, if in front of an audience, the structure. Pepe's structure is better than other ones. So we can discuss. You can disagree, but it doesn't matter.
Mm.
Like real things, are proved with real facts, and the fact is like you
Yeah,
go
And I don't see why you would change the structure because you get so many changes out of just a few cards.
Yeah.
It's what makes the effect really strong. And I think he utilizes every moment you can for a change. Um, the only problem I really have with the original version is the move at the end to get the aces back. So we just. Alright, you back?
Say it again, sorry.
The only
Yeah,
problem I
sorry.
really have with that
You
structure is the move at the
mhm.
end to get the aces back.
um, but are you talking about a structure or construction? Because a structure is external life
This the
and
structure.
construction
No,
is
I'm talking
inter.
about the construction, not the structure. The structure is
Oh
great,
yeah.
although it's also in some way it is a bit construction in some way, but no, like the structure of the effect is like good, but just the construction, like the last part to get the aces back, I don't like that so much. Um, mm,
Well, no. Yeah, we're having some connection issues. I think they are fixed now. Yeah. So I did a huge work, like an insane work on the
mm,
last part of the routine. And Helder gave me, like the solution,
mm,
because he didn't say like you have to do this. He told me like you can't do this. What it's even better, because when I had like, after the three reflections,
mm,
you show like all the cards are different, like the 10, the 2, the king, whatever. So I used to leave the cards on the table between my hands. I think it was between my hands, and then I used to go to the end, with the end.
mm,
Okay. So Helder told me you can't do this. You've been, showing the cards and leaving the cards on the table, in a very clear way, and you're going to finish the routine. The cards has to be face up,
mm,
or you have to leave them not face up, but you have to leave them on the table. So I found the solution, and yeah, I did it, and I think it was a very good point, because the aces start transforming into the cars, reflecting on the cars using these movements, So I
mm,
finish with the same movement. So somehow it is like going back to the beginning,
mm,
So you can use, like the waterfall thing movement that Gabi does, or you can use a different thing, But I wanted to respect that.
mm,
Or, for example, about reflecting the backs of the cars. Um, you have like classical structures, for example, coins through a table, or
mm,
hand-to-hand coins, or these kind of things, or the travelers. It's like four cards, four coins. So you have like four magical moments. The other structure, the classical one, is with three.
mm,
In Matrix, for example, there are like three coins that travels. There's one that is in the same place, all the time.
mm,
So you have three options. You do like four I don't know, faces or parts,
mm,
or three. The problem of doing three, I mean, it's better because it's like an odd structure and all this theory. But the problem is like if you don't respect like the clown theory, what is like you open a door and you fall because there is like a banana on the floor. The second time the same, and the third one you have to avoid, like the banana, and then you have to fall
mm,
because of different thing. Maybe a water,
mm,
I don't know, glass came into your head and then you fall. No, so you have to break this. So what people does is like they remove the part of reflecting the back, and
mm,
they stay with three reflection moments, but all of them are the same, like doing the same. So you don't have like this change in the third one, and you don't have the fourth to create like a perfect square. So this is a huge mistake, and
Would you say that moment is also like perverse in some way?
it's like, sorry, perverse.
Like perverse magic.
Yeah, of course, and it depends. It depends on how you perform it.
Mm.
For example, in my case, I don't do it perverse. I just do like a mistake. You know, I'm
Yeah,
showing the
yeah, yeah.
last one.
That's more what I mean. Like the same that Pepe does is where he's like just talking with the audience and casually doing it. Like, oh fuck, and then like the back, and then they're all backs.
Bless you. So the well, perverse magic should be would be like if the cars, you know, would reflect something different. You know, like
Mm.
it depends on how you do it. But the thing is, I think reflecting the back is like very good for the fiction as well,
Mm.
because you prove like, for example, Victor Pina does the same, but he uses like knock cars
Okay.
with black backs.
Mm.
Okay, he uses a black mat, so he's reflecting the mat, you know,
Mm.
apparently. So it's nice as well. So, but yeah, he does this, you know. In my opinion, the best idea. I've been working on it for a long time, you
Mm.
know, and I have some solutions, but I'm not really happy with the results, you know. Would be like having the four aces in your hands, you know,
Mm.
putting a card in the middle of the table, and with the four aces, just a square, boom, show four, the four are the same. You change the card the same like three times,
And
and you
all
go home.
four change rather than just three of them.
Yeah, but having an ace out, it's a
Mm.
very good excuse to represent, you know, what I do. For example, I did a very big work on
Mm.
symbols, you know,
Mm.
the disposition of the object. So I have a packet of cards on my right hand side, the another one
Mm.
on my left. I have the cards here, and I
Mm.
have an ace in the border, you know, in the edge of the
Mm.
table. So I'm creating like the stage, you know, like the place. The ace is always there as a reference, you know. And I don't know, when the cards transform into the aces again, I'm reflecting an ace of hearts and an ace of diamonds. They are in the same, but it's better than having an ace of spades, because ace of spades are usually, you know, bigger
Mm.
than
Mm.
others. So diamonds and hearts are very similar, you know.
Mm.
But I don't know. It's one of my favorites routine. Have you ever watched Pepe Carol's performance?
No, never.
Well, I have a video. We should organize, you know, a meeting with the followers, because I have
Mm.
a video of Pepe Carol performing for the first time in front of an
Mm.
audience
Really?
the routine. Yeah,
Mm.
and he makes a mistake in the end of the routine, and he says, "Well, you should destroy the tape." Yeah, but he's very funny, because he was very famous, as Tamaris at that time in
Mm.
Spain.
Really?
Yeah, actually, if you ask in the street, you know, like to maybe to people between 50 and 80 years old,
Mm.
about Pepe, they are going to know him.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, younger people is going to be more difficult, because they didn't see him on TV, because he passed away in 2004. You
Mm.
know, but yeah, older people, yes, for sure. Actually,
Yeah.
my mom used to say like, I liked a lot Juan Tamariz, but I was like shocked in love with Pepe's style, you know, like, because he was like very elegant. The
Mm.
contrast between Tamariz and Pepe was
Mm.
awesome. Yeah.
But I think also like the point you made earlier about one ace being out, like that's something that Gabi improved on a lot. Like when I'm studying both structures of the or not the structure, the construction of the routine. I think Gabi improved a lot in the sense that with Pepe's you're always hiding the extra A's, but there's not really a reason. Like you're not doing anything with it. Like well, in the beginning you're showing this moment that it's still an ace, which is a nice moment, but not necessary. And Gabi sort of fixed that by like putting it face up on the table, the packet with the ace, and then removing the ace from it later, which sort of subliminally gives you the same idea. But Gabi is not hiding that ace throughout the whole routine, where Pepe is doing that. And I think in some way it makes the routine much more efficient because A, we can do much better moves because of that, because we have to be and B, we have to be less careful. But also C, it just looks better in general because the packet is one card less thick, which can really be a lot in the case that we're using so few cards.
Yeah. Yeah, there are like more things that we could, because the ace thing is a point, but it's something like very simple that you can
of course
realize, and it's like just, I'm pretty sure that Pepe did it because he didn't want to have like distractions, you know, like just being focused on the transformations. It's okay, but you can prove that having the ace, you know, visibly on the table isn't a bad thing, you know. So
no, but I'm talking about the ace inside of the packet where the cards change.
yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, and the other thing is about the selections. For example, I realized that if you are going to reflect, doesn't matter if the cards are selected by the audience or not. So what I do, for example, I don't ask someone to say stop, you know.
Why is that? Why do you think it doesn't matter?
Because you are reflecting. If you, the thing is, we always think, you know, like we have to sign a card because we can fool, or we always have to. But the thing is, these cards aren't that important. I mean, you are just reflecting. You could reflect any card, doesn't matter. So I just riffle the cards, I stop, and I have 3 cards. There is something very cool that Pepe used to do. Like after reflecting, he used to shuffle, selecting another card again. Okay, it's okay, but I think it isn't that important, you know. So I removed that, and I just was focused. I think this is because the realistic influence, you know, like.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's like that's I think the two biggest differences between like fictional type magic and realistic type magic. That like with the realistic stuff, ideally we would sign all those cards, and at the same time also the signatures would be reflected. Hey, how cool would that be? But but with like fictional one, it doesn't matter so much. You're just sharing the idea that would be possible.
Yeah, and yeah, it's that, you know, and I think it's very important, you know, like keeping in mind these kind of things, because you can transmit something else. You know, I've experienced something with this routine that I've never experienced with others, or not with many others. That is like, I don't say like this is my routine, you know. I always say like this is Pepe's routine, and actually Mike Vincent always says like your reflections, like your version, like. And for me, it's like I just took Pepe's, and I just. It doesn't matter if you control a card using this method or other, if the result is going to be the same. So, but at the same time, feeling it like Pepe's routine, I feel like very mine as well. I'm not like saying like it's mine, but I feel like I can transmit a lot of things, you know, and I feel a connection with this routine, very very special. I've performed this routine like many times in front of an audience, and the reactions are good, but the feeling that I feel, you know, that I have, you know, when I perform it, are even better than the reactions of the I'm not saying like more powerful. I'm just saying like I feel.
Yeah, my
More
first
glad,
is
you know,
much more powerful than Peppa's version. I also have a bigger dick, by the way.
I know, but what I'm saying is like I feel happier because of the
Mm,
feelings that I experience performing it than because of the reactions of the audience. That's something important. Like you liking the material that you perform.
of course. I mean, the audience can also feel that, right?
Yeah, of course. That's Tamari's
That's how it feels.
best there. Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. Well, when you started with the routine, what was like the first thing that came into my mind, into your mind? Like,
Well, it was interesting because it started with Gabi's routine. Like, that was the first version I ever saw and studied. Um, and then later I bought like the reprint of this book, the 52 Lovers.
that's awesome.
And it's the reprint, so it's also like proper English, or more proper. It's readable rather than the other version. Like, I saw pictures from Mike, dude. Like, the other version, I was like trying to read it. I'm like, I don't understand this language. This is not English.
Yeah. Well, so sorry for cutting you, but did I ever tell you that people from the Magic Circle offer me to translate, like into proper English the book?
Oh, really?
Yeah, like I at that time I didn't have like the English that I have now, writing
Mm.
or speaking. It isn't very well now, but I mean I can keep a conversation. But they were asking like, you perform the routines for us, you record a video, and we just rewrite everything because the original traduction was like horrible. Apparently, I didn't say it, but apparently is like impossible to read.
It is.
So
And
yeah,
we rewrite everything.
yeah, and this one I think it was translated by Juanma, a friend of mine, and his girlfriend. I don't know.
Mm. Well, it is released by Paginas again.
Yeah, páginas.
Translated by Andrea Stoilkov.
Yeah,
Edited by
Juanma's.
John Lovick and Juanma Gonzalez.
Yeah, Juanma, my friend from Madrid. Yeah,
Forward by Juan Tamariz. Illustrations by Luis Treba.
Prueba. Yeah.
And layout and design by Gabriela Gottdaltler.
Do you know who Luis Trueba is, right?
Nope.
I think you know him, but now you're not. Do you remember this? Like four black cars. I don't know if you can see them. Four red cars.
Mm-hmm.
We have to mix them in red and black. Okay, so I mixed red and black, red and black, red and black, and red and black. Okay. If I take two cars, okay, like this, they are going to be like red and black. You have here the black next to the red, okay, here
Mm-hmm.
as well, the red next to the black, okay. I just used it and look.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so he has a book where he explains this. I did it very bad.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very fast, but yeah. In the first part of the book, you have like Pepe Carol's mnemonica because
Mm.
he had a mnemonica as well.
Really?
Yeah, it wasn't as useful as Tamaris. He didn't study like as much as Tamaris,
Mm.
but but yeah, it's nice.
All right.
Yeah. So when you started studying the routine,
Mm.
did you? We were talking about that. What do you think about the routine? Did you like it? You were
It's
like,
really, it's really, it's really nice. But for example, Like why I say I don't like the ending so much. Like I like it much more from Gabi than from Pepe, where you change back to the aces. And it's I like the ending. I just don't like the construction of the ending, like move wise, technique wise. But from Gabi, I love it. But the reason is being is like with Pepe, it's such an interesting routine because at the same time you get a routine together with a script and they're sort of inseparable. But also they are, and I feel that with Gabi's version a bit like they are a bit more separable. But also Gabi added like a bit more freedom to the routine because construction wise, like with Pepe's version, you have to do a Scania spreads and then all of a sudden put the card from the bottom to the top, and I feel that's a bit awkward to do in a Scania spread. That's just because I'm not used to it, maybe, but it's still I find that more awkward than like the only really natural move I find is to put the double on the top or to leave it there, right? But not so much to put the bottom card on the top. I feel that loses fluency for the move. But also, like, Pepe at one point uses a half pass. And Gabi also uses that half pass, but he uses it like combined with pushing two cards, so it just looks like a spread. It's not a half pass anymore. It's the perfect cover, I think.
That was a very very important part when I was starting the routine and
Mm-hmm.
when I created that I just do this and you don't need to do anything else, like
Mm-hmm.
showing the card and I do like this and you don't have to do like the half
Mm-hmm.
pass. So yeah.
And at the same time, like also it feels like he is more free in the way he's showing the cards. Where with Pepe with the all backs, it feels a bit rigid. At least from how I'm reading it. And again, might also be me again, but I feel Gabi's version allows a bit more freedom in that, and I like the reproduction of the aces more. And I feel that because those little changes, it's a bit more of a routine, which is still a masterpiece, but can also be made um, into different ways. Like different people could present it, and you could give it your own presentation and your own touches. And with Peppa's routine, a bit less. Like you got to change one thing, but then you have to change many things to keep making it sense. And Gabi just changed the right things, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting when you say it. Do you think it's a difficult routine in the technical aspect?
I find this such a difficult question to answer because no and yes. Look, you for that move, like let's take Gabi's version. Um, the move I struggled with the most is the production of the aces. But it's a necky move. It's not a difficult move. It's necky, and I struggled the most with that. But there are much more difficult moves in there. There's a half pass in there. There are many double lifts in there. There are counts in there which you have to be fluent at. So there are much more difficult moves in that routine than the ace dribble. But that's why I find it difficult to answer because when I started with Magic, I started with those kinds of moves with the half pass and a normal pass and a turnover pass and spread pass and the double lift and the Elmsley count.
Yeah.
So yeah, like it's a routine which is more difficult because it's definitely not a routine you could read from the book and then immediately start performing. You need to rehearse it. And you need to rehearse it a lot in order to be able to be present with an audience while performing it. But I wouldn't say it's especially difficult.
Yeah.
Like I would be more worried about hitting the third ace in Marlowe's estimation aces than or the fourth ace than I would be about this routine.
Yeah. My opinion is the one of the best examples to work on fluency, because we usually rehearse techniques we usually rehearse, you know, like full sequences or whatever.
Mm.
What I mean is like you don't have, you know, like real time to get ready to do an MC count. You
Mm.
just have to do it, but you don't have to count. You have to count the card, that
Mm.
it's totally different, or you have to show them. You don't have to do a techniques. So that's why I think it's the perfect technique to master, you know, fluency in your handlings. I don't think it's a difficult routine in the technical aspect. I think it's a difficult routine in other aspect. Technically, it's like exigent, you know, like you have to be a good technician, you know.
Mm.
But if you rehearse, is it's you know.
But that's important, right? Like with magic, we very often only talk about practice. You have to practice, so you got to practice the routine at home enough so you can dream it and do it in front of an audience. But I think a much better way of looking at it is what Eugene Berger does, where he says that, look, you first practice, that's just doing the routine, and if something fucks up, you start over. But then you also rehearse, and this is imagining that you're in front of a real audience, using your script or saying what you would say to them. And if you make a mistake, you're gonna try to get out of it. Which teaches you much more about your routine. It also teaches you if you fuck up, where the fuck up might be, but also where you could maybe fix it. And sometimes you get extremely lucky. Like in my show a few days ago, I got super lucky because look, I did um, the routine with the glass,
Yeah.
the loop. But the thing I fucked up was I do this move where if you like sort of like the cards are on the bottom and I cut and I put them like this, right? And then I spread. So then, and if you spread like this, then at one point you can see a visible separation where the cards go like this. But because the cards are spread in an arc, it's not screamingly visible. Like you need to know you're looking for it. And then I use the glass to go over the cards, have someone go over it and say stop here, stop. And then remove the cards and I do a double. The thing was, I separated it at the wrong point. So I was like, what's your card? 2 of hearts. 9 of spades. Fuck. I looked at him and like, really? Not it? I'm like, no. And then I turned over here this package. And what about? And then here he was like, oh, we're just off by 1. And that was perfect. They were like, you know? Like everyone was super shocked because it was like, what? Just off by 1? And then I could still fix it because rather than doing a double lift, I just did a second deal now. To make the card change in the end for the last phase. So the perfect fix. But I mean, like, you only get to those situations by rehearsing. Because also by rehearsing for yourself, you will fuck up. And then if you're on live performance and if you know multiple techniques, you can get out of it.
Yeah. Well, actually, have you ever watched his version on Rollover Aces?
Who's the version?
Pepe's.
No, never.
Well, so it's really nice, but there are some videos where he makes some mistakes, and he has to fix, you know, like if you make a mistake in the first moment of the routine and you have like 5 different moments, you are dragging this mistake, you know, and it's even bigger, so you have to remake, you know, everything, you know. So you can see in the videos that he's, you know, like being lucky, you know, like it is just for 1 card, you know, and he's restructuring everything, you know. It looks nice, you know, and nobody,
Mm.
asks for it, And there is other thing very interesting. Like one of my mentors was very close to Pepe Carol, and he showed me in the past when I was very young Tamari's routine for the fission and
Mm.
Pepe's routine, And he was saying like Tamari's goes to the construction to kill mentally, and rationally the spectators, everything, blah blah blah. And when he showed me Carol's routine, he was saying like, and now he could have done this, but he didn't because he knew he was very good and doing magic and doing technique, and he didn't need it. So that's something that I try to apply on reflections routine.
Mm.
There are many ways to simplify everything, but if it's going to look better in a different way, and it makes you to do, like a difficult technique, like a palm or whatever, not
Mm.
difficult, you have to do it, So Carol used to be this kind of guys, like a palm, let's go for it. On TV, let's go for it. Like, so this is really really interesting as well. Like, yeah, structure, constructions, they are very important.
Mm.
But sometimes you find people who can do like difficult techniques without any problem, and you have them. There are like some examples.
Mm.
Scar is one of these examples.
Mm. I think that's also a good point to end the podcast for today.
Okay.
So, thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed this video, like, subscribe, share us around. That really helps us out a lot. Even though you think it might not, it actually motivates us, but also at the same time, it helps YouTube or whichever you're sharing it on to share our videos around and to reach a bigger audience. Thank you for listening to us, and we'll see you guys next time.